What's up, humans, and welcome to a new episode of Psicoactivo. I have to commend Mr. James Iandoli from EngagingThePhenomenon. Something really strange is happening over the last week. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the day before yesterday, Jim Semivan gave an interview to James, and they spoke about a lot of deep stuff about the phenomenon, trying to understand what's happening, and about the secrecy aspect of it too, but also about consciousness. Then a day after, Tom DeLonge gave an interview. I covered that on my channel, where he speaks about the theory he has about consciousness and about essentially what quantum entanglement is, and the fact that we can create reality with our minds. Today, James is busting out the home runs. He had author Peter Levenda promoting the new Secret Machines War book, and man, that conversation was, it just made me realize that Mr. Levenda is in my top 3 people that I want to speak to for the channel, because so many things he said rang true to me. But the most important part to me in that conversation is something that I've been trying to struggle with. I've been struggling to try and communicate to people, because the main focus of my channel is trying to understand consciousness and what the connection is between consciousness and these UFOs, the nuts and bolts. And I think what Mr. Peter Levenda says here, I'm going to show you the clip right now.
Because we keep hitting up against this wall, this indigestible aspect is consciousness. It's the one thing our establishments do not study, don't even really take seriously, except in terms of psychological warfare. But we don't really break it down into how can we understand consciousness and thereby understand the phenomenon? What is our role? How do we use consciousness studies to approach this? How do we use psychology, philosophy, religious studies, all of that stuff? Don't they have a piece of the puzzle? Can't they help us to understand this? And this is the thing everybody hates, right? Because especially here in the West, we put things in boxes. We categorize everything. Everything's in a separate category. You mix consciousness studies in with the UFO phenomenon, and you lose half your audience right away. They want to see a dead alien, or they want to see a captured UFO. They want to see, show me a dead alien, show me the saucer. Don't talk to me about consciousness. Don't talk to me about this, because that's squishy. It's soft science. We can't really use it. We can't rely upon it. We can't rely upon what's discovered. That's not true. We can, but we have to approach it the right way. We have to approach this, quote unquote, scientifically, but we can penetrate into this. We can understand that a lot of what we see as the UFO phenomenon is not taking place out there. It's taking place in here.
So what basically he's talking about is that people who try to see all the nuts and bolts aspect of it and just focus on that eventually end up at a dead end. When I spoke to Nick Cook, I don't know if you guys remember, Nick spent many years trying to understand the nuts and bolts aspect of it. He wrote a book called Hunt for Zero Point, where he went on a mission to try and understand if this 0 point energy was real. And he came up empty-handed, so to speak. The book is brilliant, but he eventually started veering towards consciousness, and right now his main point of focus is consciousness. And I wholeheartedly believe that what Mr. Peter Levenda said here is what needs to happen to everybody who is focusing a little bit too much on the technology aspect of this, on the nuts and bolts aspect of it. I don't know if you guys remember it, but the two of the most compelling encounters of this NHI happened with children. One was in Zimbabwe in the 90s.
I think they want people to know that we're actually making harm on this world, and we mustn't get too technologized.
How did that get communicated to you? Through words, or?
My conscience, I think.
Your what?
My conscience.
It came to
told
you
me.
through your conscience told you?
Yeah, it came through my head.
and another one was also in the 90s, but in Virginia, Brazil. These beings allegedly communicated telepathically with these children. The Zimbabwe case, this being told one of the girls that humans were too technologed. That's the word she used. And that we needed to take care of our environment more. The Virginia NHI told one of the girls that we had no idea the potential we have as a species. And what Mr. Peter Levenda is talking about here rings true to me and makes me do these connections, because I do believe that the faster we move on to trying to understand how consciousness works and how our human potential works, the faster and easier it will be for us to understanding the phenomenon itself. And I think that people try to focus a little bit too much sometimes on the secrecy aspect of this, on the science aspect of it, on the technology aspect of it, and they leave consciousness aside each day more and more. And I want you guys to ponder something. The powers that be, the first powers that came about, the first control system that ever existed is religion, organized religion. To be specific, the Abrahamic religions. And what did one of these religions do during the Holy Inquisition? They killed systematically anybody who was deemed a pagan, a witch, a warlock, mystics, shamans. That's what they did. And they say that it was like a holy purpose, because only the faith in the one true God is what mattered, right? But I think that I have a different interpretation of this, because what I think happened is that there is knowledge that Mr. Peter Levenda and James Iandoli call the occult, but there has always been like a negative connotation of these types of knowledge, without realizing that I'm Mexican, I have shamans in my family. I don't think they're evil. I don't think they manage the occult, or I don't think they're pagans. I think they have knowledge from generations in the past that they have learned over centuries that is still working to this day, that is very effective, that is positive. Because I think that there are shamans, and yes, we can call them white witches that practice white magic. Mr. Peter Levenda and James Iandoli also talked about this magic, that if it hadn't been suppressed, we would be living in a very different reality today. So I'm not saying that the belief in deities or the belief in God is wrong. I'm not saying that spirituality is wrong. I'm saying that the first ever control system wanted to subdue anybody who didn't think the way they did. And that's what they did. And they killed a lot of people for it. And still to this day, we find this fundamentalism and extremism in many of the religions around the world. And the reason that this has been perpetuated for so long is because of the systematic eradication of these other cultures and other ancient knowledge, because that's what it is. It's ancient knowledge that these religions didn't accept, and they didn't want it to oppose whatever they wanted to teach or spread around the world. And today, as a result, we have so many wars that have been fought, billions of people that have been killed in the name of God or in the name of these deities, monotheistic ones mostly. And I think that Mr. Peter Levenda is spot on when he says that we need to understand how our own minds and our own perception of reality works in order to get even a little chance to understanding what the phenomenon is. Because the phenomenon is real. The phenomenon exists. It is looking at us. It is keeping a close eye on what we do. And it is not going to make contact until we come to grips with this new reality. And the only way that's going to happen is if we stop paying so much attention to the science and the technology aspect of this, the nuts and bolts, and pay more attention to the spirituality and the consciousness aspect of this. And the sooner we realize how powerful we are, the sooner we realize the capabilities we have if we work together, unifying our minds through quantum entanglement, the faster we're going to get to the other side. And the faster we're going to get to the truth, whatever that is. Even if it's a daunting truth, even if it's something that will ultimately change everybody's perception of what God and reality is, that really doesn't matter. I think that we need to have this traumatic experience, this paradigm shift, in order to change all the frequencies that have been roaming around Earth for generations, that have kept us in this cesspool of negativity for so long. I want you guys to think about what Mr. Peter Levenda said and what these kids said that the NHI told them, because I think it's one of the biggest clues that we're gonna get on how to manage and navigate this new reality. That's my video for today. I want to thank Mr. Peter Levenda. I hope I can get to talk to you, sir. I think we would have a really wonderful conversation about many of these topics. I particularly want to ask you about all the Greek mythology lore, because I think there's something there, definitely. So I want to talk to you about that if you give me the chance to speak to you. And I want to thank James Iandoli. Shout out to you, James. You're doing amazing work, man. And I've always looked up to you since I started watching your content. I can only aspire to do what you do. So thank you, man. Thank you for everything you do. And thank you guys for watching the content that I create. I've been at this for a short period of time, and I've only gotten positive things from it. I think we're creating a really wonderful community. The only way that this can keep growing is if you guys like what you see, share it, make comments, subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel in any other way, I'm going to leave a couple of links in the description. Tomorrow I'm going to interview Dr. Celestino Piotti for the second time, because he wants to clear up more aspects of the bodies, the Nazca bodies, the J types and the M types. And he wants to be very specific about what he wants to say. So we're going to talk in the morning. I hope I can get the translated version on the same day published. One of the ways that you can support that I am going to ask you guys, if you can, is if you do give us donations, I am going to use that to use AI tools to get this translated faster to you guys, because I think it's very important. I think what Dr. Piotti is doing, the discoveries he made, I believe have the potential to change the world. And I know it's a really touchy subject for many, but I believe that the better we can relate the information to English speakers, specifically to scientific community English speakers, the faster we're going to get on the same page with this, because it is important. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow with that interview. Until next time, bye-bye.